Do you ever finish a CASC station thinking, I knew what to ask, but I ran out of time? If that sounds familiar to you, this video may change your result. Today, I'm going to show you how high-scoring candidates manage time, even in the most complex history-taking stations. The most candidates don't fail because of lack of knowledge. They fail because they ask too much, too early, and in the wrong order. And by minute 5, they panic. In CASC, you are not rewarded for asking everything. You are rewarded for asking the right things in the right order. Now, some of the typical complex stations in CASC could be a history taking for a first episode psychosis, or a cognitive assessment, or mania, perinatal history taking, risk assessment, taking a collateral history, or even doing capacity assessments. Why are candidates struggling to finish off these stations in 7 minutes? What they are trying to do is they try to do rapport, symptoms, past history, personal history, risk, management, all at equal depth. Impossible in 7 minutes. Now, what to do instead? Remember, examiners are not asking, did you ask every possible question? What they are asking is, did this candidate prioritize safely? So let me introduce you to a 3-layer time framework. Let's talk about the layer 1, open fast. At this time, maybe you can imagine your first 1 minute of the station. The goal will be rapport, agenda, and chief complaint. Say something like, I would like to understand what's been happening. Ask some focused questions and then summarize. Then, what's brought you in today? Now, don't spend 2 minutes on introductions. That's impossible outside the scope of a 7-minute station. Layer 2. This is your core of the station. Go deep in areas where the marks are. This lasts somewhere around 1 to 5 minutes. And this is where candidates waste their time and consequently run out of time. So, the rule for this part of the station is follow the station theme. For example, if we talk about the mania station, prioritize sleep, mood, energy, impulsivity, risk, and of course not the childhood history. If we are talking about psychosis stations, prioritize hallucinations, delusions, insight, risk, and of course not the family tree. And if we are talking about depression, prioritize biological symptoms, functioning, suicidal risk. Remember this golden phrase. I would like to ask some more focused questions now and prioritize the things that we have enlisted now. This is going to save your time. Now, the third layer is closing early. Candidates rush to finish off the station and close within the last 30 seconds of the station. And that is quite impossible. It sounds rushed. And you lose your confidence for the next station in the exam cycle. So, this is the area where high scorers separate themselves. They move forward to closing the station early enough. They think about closing the station early enough, safely, a bit early, like when there is 90 seconds left for the station to finish. So at about minute 5, you need to mentally ask, if the bell rang now, have I covered safety? Have I done with the risk assessment? If not, whatever you were assessing at that time, finish it and move immediately to risk assessment. Now, what can be the transition phase which you can use in this particular stage? You can say something like, before we finish, I need to ask a few important safety questions. Or, before we finish, I would like to ensure that you and everyone else is safe. And then proceed to asking questions about risk, self-harm, suicide, aggression, vulnerability, or whatever you are concerned about at that point of time. And then take time to summarize, close the station effectively, safely, in a meaningful way. Now, this can be a challenging area. How to handle a talkative role player? A role player who is going to be very talkative is definitely going to affect your time management. Now, the problem here is the patient or the role player talks endlessly and the candidates panic. What you need to do in this sort of a situation is to gently redirect or guide the station. Say things like, you have given me really helpful information. I may guide us a little so I don't miss on anything important. So what this shows that you are empathetic, you have the control over the station, and you are able to organize your structure effectively. Every 30 seconds, ask yourself, am I gathering marks or am I just gathering information? And this is going to change everything that you do in the station. Let's try to understand this a bit more in detail. If you look at the first version, where the candidate explores every symptom equally, follows tangents, and reaches risk when there is less than 20 seconds left. The result is the examiner is going to think that the candidate is unsafe. The task would not be completed and the candidate is going to lose marks. Now look at the second version where the candidate says things like, that's helpful. I'll come back to that. Can I ask about your sleep? Do you have any thoughts of harming yourself? Let me summarize. So what is the result? The examiner knows that the candidate is structured, the candidate is able to prioritize things, and the candidate is equally concerned about ensuring safety. A complete, focused assessment scores higher than an incomplete, perfect one. And this is worth repeating. A complete, focused assessment scores higher than an incomplete, perfect one. Look at the common time-wasting mistakes that are usually done by candidates during CASC stations. Mistake 1 is over-empathizing early. That sounds difficult. I can understand. And this is repeated 5 times. And this is going to take a lot of your time. Mistake number 2, open-ended questions throughout. Remember, it is a 7-minute station. It is impossible to finish off the task, finish off the station within 7 minutes if you just focus upon open-ended questions. The rule in CASC is try to use balanced open-ended and closed-ended questions. Like for example, if in a station your structure has multiple domains, think that you have 4 domains to finish. When you start off with the first domain, Start off with an open-ended question, but as you go deeper, close down the questions. Then open another funnel for the second domain. Start off with an open-ended question again and close it down as you go along or explore into the depth. So use a balance of open-ended and closed-ended questions. Mistake number 3, no signposting. Now what happens? What is the advantage of signposting? When you signpost, you structure your stations. You organize yourself mentally, and you also let the examiner know that this is what I'm doing now. So this is going to give you marks, and this is going to help you with your time management as well. Mistake number 4, the most important mistake, that you are leaving the risk until the end. When there are less than 30 seconds, you are supposed to move forward towards closing the station effectively rather than picking up something new, especially risk assessment. If you try to do that in the last 30 seconds, and imagine if you pick up something risky, if the patient is actively suicidal, what are you going to do in the next 20 seconds? Can you manage that risk effectively? So don't leave risk assessment to the last 30 seconds. Plan early to do the risk assessment and manage the risks elicited safely, effectively. Enter every station with this question. What are the 3 things that examiner must hear? Try to find those 3 things first in the station. Everything else that you do in the station is going to be a bonus. Remember, CASC is not a memory test. It's a prioritization test. The candidates who pass are not the ones who ask more. They are the ones who ask smarter questions. If you would like to get more weekly CASC strategies and mock stations, feel free to subscribe to the channel and share the videos to anyone preparing for CASC. Thank you and see you in the next video.